Hey everyone, and welcome to the now sixth episode of ICC Interesting Conversation Corner. Today we have on Satnam Singh Mango, who is running for Illinois Senate seat.
Oh, I should actually tell you that I am no longer a candidate
Former candidate for Illinois seat. What seat was it again? 30
for the 33rd district.
for the 33rd district. Former candidate for 33rd district. Lovely to have you on. How you been?
I've been good. I've been really good. Of course, now that I'm not campaigning, I have a little bit more time to work on other campaigns that I'm interested in as well.
Yeah, we'll be getting into that. First question, favorite elected official currently in Congress?
Oh my gosh. So this shouldn't be very tough. It shouldn't be. I should just be saying Rashida. That it should be quite obvious. But the reason it's not is because I met Rashida and Summer Lee at the same time. I met both Rashida and Summer Lee at a fundraiser at Junaid Ahmed's house in November of 2023.
Mm,
So this was when the genocide just kicked off and everything. And I, there's such a sisterhood between those two ladies. And also, I respect Summer that I think it was something like $3-4 million of APAC money in her race that she defeated.
mhm.
I have so much respect for her. So it's really tough but it's between Rashida and Summer.
Yeah. As much as I'm trying to dig into my brain and think of controversial choice, or outside the box choice, I'm really not coming up with one that really would surpass those two. Those would probably be my answers as well, as far as currently in Congress. That's including the Senate as well. Sorry, Bernie.
Yeah.
uh, Personal political hero.
Ooh, personal political hero. Okay, this is actually so do you want to take this as still alive or
Ooh,
or
give me both. We could do both.
okay. Okay. So my personal political hero is Fred Hampton. 100% has to be Fred Hampton. I think like when I think about what could have happened if the Black Panther Party was actually had some political viability. Well, they did have political viability. I mean,
Mhm.
you think about like what happened to them, infiltration and assassination and all of the things that when somebody's an actual threat to uh to capital, that's what happened to the Black Panthers. So I'd say Fred Hampton. As far as alive, uh, um, I mean, so like I have a couple of political heroes. Unfortunately, none of them are American. So like so I don't know how much the audience is into foreign politics, but I have two political heroes. I would say for similar, yeah, different reasons. Three, I should say. I would say Lula da Silva in Brazil.
Mm.
Um, Jeremy Corbyn, and I would say uh, also relatively new Claudia Sheinbaum.
Yeah. Those are three good picks. I would say all-time history, probably niche shout out, but Mozi, if you're familiar with him, ancient Chinese philosopher, very vehemently anti-offensive war, so much so his followers would go to one kingdom and defend them, and then when they would inevitably counterattack the other kingdom, they would go to that kingdom to defend them because they were so staunchly against all offensive warfare. And then currently, probably he's not I've never seen him explicitly in the political scene, but Les Stroud. If you ever watch Survivor Man, he uses his platform to talk very heavily about nature and nature rights. And he also writes a lot of good music, which I found is like really inspiring for me. If you Speaking of which, if your campaign when you were still running had a theme song, what would it have been?
A theme song, eh? Okay, that this is gonna sound funny. So we were doing uh like our campaign slogan was "Let's go Mago." My
Mm,
last name is Mago, and it just flew in that way. So I think that we had somebody say, "What if we did Let's go Mago to Blitzkrieg Bop?" So let's go Mago, you know, something along those lines. So I mean, I don't know, but I think that that's the type of energy that I wanted in my campaign because I think that whenever you're doing a people-funded campaign, workers first, you're doing a hard-working campaign, and so like the type of campaign that we have to run is one where we're going to knock on as many doors as possible and get our voice out there to as many people as possible because we're combating uh, propaganda machines. And that's difficult. It's easy because the capital, um, the candidates that represent capital, they are the ones that are going to be espousing they're going to be using the tools of propaganda machines that already exist. It's much easier for them to just throw money around because they have money to do it anyways.
mm,
And but we're much stronger when we can win our campaigns when we get the volunteer buy-in, and that's the thing that's also kind of tricky is that we have to finance from working class people to make sure that we increase their standard of living. So there's a little bit of a shame from our side of how much can we ask people to donate to us because these are not rich people. We're not our whole purpose is to make sure that they live uh, more economically secure lives. So that was my biggest issue was I respect people's labor, and so like I want people to volunteer, but also I don't want them to hurt themselves financially to help my campaign. And so this is one of the issues that I think that um candidates that don't care about community that they never think about, and this is actually why we kind of because of our ethics, we hurt our campaigns to begin with, but that's okay. We have to do it this way. We have to do it the right way. So
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Uh,
I feel like I'm speaking to the choir when I say this,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm
I was
just
about to say
saying it.
100%. Ooh, okay. You're not running in aisle 33, so I'll skip that question. Ooh, okay. What races in Illinois other than your own are you most keeping an eye on?
Yeah. So I'm keeping an eye on a lot of races. I'm keeping an eye on Illinois State Senate 35th race because one of my friends, Sarah Murdens, she's running in that race, and is she's a New Deal era Democrat who does not want our tax dollars going towards genocide, and she is a person who cares about education and she cares about food, housing, healthcare, all of the things that we believe to be human rights. So I'm watching her race. Dan Syverson she has nobody in her Democratic primary, so she has a very clear shot to win that race, and that's mostly McHenry County. I'm watching Nabila Saeed in the 26th district. I think that she has you know, she is able to access certain aspects of the establishment because she's proven herself in races to the point where uh, they can't ice her out. So because she's proven herself in that district, they can't ice her out. So so she's put herself in a position where the establishment has to work with her. And from my meeting with her, talking to her, she hasn't sacrificed her values in this process either. Because I know that sometimes people go to DC or Springfield uh, to lose who they are, that
Hmm.
and to become careerists. I don't see that with Nabila. There's Ben McAdams in the 24th district for state senate, and he is running a campaign similar to mine, and he was also DSA endorsed, and so he is and he has nobody in the Democratic primary. So I'm looking at that as well, but I'm looking at that campaign in specific because Seth Lewis is the Republican incumbent in that race, and he something that I think a lot of people don't understand. So he um was championing a law that would define uh, Indians in Illinois as like people who could be part of certain groups on a governmental perspective as Hindus, which I think that this is one of those things where I think a lot of like, especially white Illinoisans, I don't think they truly understand that that's discriminatory. Um, and I think that they like even some people who like I would not deem as racist, they truly don't understand why that's discriminatory or how it is. And so like as a Sikh American, right? So like that what that means is that anybody who represents like anything India in the state of Illinois would definitionally have to be Hindu. So basically, me myself, like my dad was born in well, it was British India at the time, but he was born there, right? And so like, um, but he's Sikh. He's a member of the Sikh faith. So ultimately, Sikhs, Muslims, Christians there's so many Indians that are not Hindu. And so so anyways, so this obviously it's something that hits kind of close to home because it matters in terms of how do you advocate for your community uh if positions on a state level for like Indian cultural things are only given to Hindus. So Ben McAdams, that's super important for me. And then on the federal level, I am looking really closely at Junaid in the 8th congressional district, Junaid Ahmed. Looking at both Kat Abuzale and Bushra Amiwala in the 9th. I'm looking at you was your district the 5th, is it?
District
Or
10,
not the
District
5th?
10 up in the
10,
corner.
10, 10. Yeah. Uh, anybody to get out Schneider. I also met Morgan Coghill, who's challenging in the Democratic primary for that as well. And I'm looking at Joey Rusevich. I like Joey Rusevich personally on a personal level, but also I just really loathe Sean Casten. I think he's a monster. Who there's a different level. I think so in your race, Brad Schneider has taken so much money from APAC. I think he's probably at the top, right? But
Mhm.
you would know better than me. But there's and I've met both people, and I know that Brad Schneider is taking more money. There's something like really like monstrous about Sean Caston, how he operates. I don't know if you've gotten the same feeling
I
as I
think I
am.
know what you're describing because it's that sort of bully energy that I've felt from
Yeah.
people of on the Illinois State Board of Investments when they've been bullying us around and, manufacturing that and breaking laws and manipulating those things so that they literally are texting Zionists, hey, I'm on your side and we'll sneak you in the door in front of all these people waiting and all that type of stuff. Very much that same type of bully energy of how dare you even question me? Like,
Yeah, yeah, that's what it is, right? And because like for example, I've disrupted Cass and I've disrupted Bill Foster. Bill Foster, he'll just like, he'll turtle up, he'll stick his head back in his shell and he'll like there's only so much I can say to Bill Foster because he's not like he's a jerk by his votes, but then he just like I don't know. Like after a certain point, I'm like, okay, well, bless your heart, okay. But
mm-hmm,
with Sean Caston, he just like digs his heels into the ground, and he's like, yeah, well, you want to see the jerk? I'll let the jerk out. You want to see that jerk? Okay, let's dance. And it's
mm-hmm.
like, oh man, I hate that guy. And so, and I don't want this to be just I hate Sean, so therefore go for Joey. I genuinely like Joey also. And so we kind of got lucky there. You know, I myself happen to have probably I didn't mention this woman. My own congresswoman is Delia Ramirez.
Mhm.
So when I
She's
mentioned
awesome.
Rashida and Summer, when I
I should have mentioned
mentioned
her. She was the third I was forgetting. Thank you for reminding me.
yeah, so the fact that I mentioned Summer Lee and Rashida when Delia is literally like my number three, like it says something about Summer and Rashida. Is I want to make that distinction here because I rest easy knowing that at the very least my congresswoman is Delia. So I want to make that clear. She's amazing.
Mhm.
And the reason I make that clear is because when we delve into lefty circles, you're green. I ran as a Democrat. But the reality is that we're running for these similar values or whatever. But I think especially like not necessarily on a federal, but especially on a local level, sometimes we get some lefties that run as Democrats because of how our two-party system and ballot access works. So
Mhm.
that would rather run as a third party, but feel like they have a better option to try to hijack. I don't know how you feel about that. Like, as a Green, how do you feel about this?
Yeah, there are definitely certain people within the Green Party that are a little bit more, I don't know if campus is the right word, but a little bit more dogmatic. Myself, when I was talking to Morgan and we were discussing our policies, I was like, the main difference really, other than maybe a slight specific on Israel, and that I explicitly am like, I'm advocating for the anti-Zionist position, whereas he will say stop weapons, stop the genocide, but I don't recall him specifying if he's two state or one state on that regard. But like our main difference really is just the which gamble do we want to do? Do we want to have a bigger platform and have more money, but also the institutions that we're running in are going to be opposing us? Or do we want less resources, less money, knowing that whatever party base there is 100% going to have your back from the toppest of the top all the way to the bottom? Like if I were to have joined any other party, I wouldn't have already been talking to people as high up as like Jill Stein and Butch Ware and statewide people. That just never would have happened. So they each have their different strengths, and I like that there's one of us in each. I mean, fingers crossed. I would love Morgan to win, but if you were a political better, chances are, unfortunately, he still has not probably reached likely to win yet. If I had to put like a percentage on it, and, I had to put money on it. Thankfully, I'm not a gambler myself, but is that it's going to be a double punch? Is that he's going to be constantly having a campaign? And fingers crossed, knock on wood, hopefully, if neither me or Morgan succeed, we go again. And so he's constantly having to defend himself and he's not allowed to hide because for a long time, he's had no primary challengers and he's just been able to say, look, I'm better than the Republicans, which full transparency, even though I'm running against him, and he gives to the conservatives more than any other Democrat in Illinois, other than maybe Nikki Budzinski. He is better than probably whoever the Republicans are going to be throwing up. But still,
Hmm.
I think we could do better than that. And going backtracking even further, our conversation about Sean Casten and Bill Foster, I think highlights that there are two aspects we need to pay attention to. There's being a good person and a good politician, and they're not always synonymous. If we can get both, fuck yeah. Because those are the people that we can rely on 100%, like Delia and Summerlee and Rashida.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point that you're bringing up because, like, for example, there's a lot of people that like on the right, for example, that are being pro-Palestine. Like, I'm specifically thinking of people like uh, I would put Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene in one bucket, and then Candace Owens in another.
Mm-hmm.
Primarily because I feel like, well, maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene is in between because Tucker Carlson still feels slightly grifty,
Mm-hmm.
whereas Candace Owens to me seems like to me this is not necessarily great, but I think she's a Christian nationalist, and I think that she has arrived to her position now. Like I don't like nationalism, okay, but like I think when we talk about Palestinian nationalism, for example, right now is a thing that's happening as well, and I think that nationalism is only really justified in when you're an oppressed person in a colonial construct where the you're utilizing those aspects to unify a people against a colonizer. And I think that we can see how that goes. Um, like because we can see with Zionism, what it is and what it became, and this, that, whatever. It's essentially Jewish nationalism, and in part justified because of the Holocaust and the pogroms and the genocides against Jewish people. And so, I want to very delicately and carefully, like, kind of like provide that context, but so what I don't want to see is this idea that we support Palestine because they're an oppressed peoples. We uh, I think this is something that does need to be talked about when liberating people, that we don't liberate people to become oppressors of other people. And I think and I guess that's what I'm trying to say here. And I, without like any broad generalizations outside of this is what happened, you know?
100%.
So,
Uh,
but Candace Owens, back to that real quick. Um, she, so I take it really seriously with these right wingers when they get on this train. I take it seriously. Did you have any financial, like, did you put your money where your mouth is? Because that's how you can tell in the capitalist system if somebody's like truly saying what they believe or if they're grifting. Because Candace Owens, she with forewent her deal with Daily Wire, and Ben Shapiro was literally her boss when she was talking about this stuff. And so she went without like a multi-million-dollar deal in order to do this, and she's recovered financially since or whatever. But I think that she took she made this stance when she thought, as far as she knew, it was going to end her career. So that's why I make a distinction with her, and I trust what she says about Palestine
mm,
from the
mm.
right. I like that she's talking to people that I don't want to talk to. I think that's what the right wing sphere on this, that's what they serve for me.
Mm, mm. Oh gosh, I can't remember what YouTube channel it was, but one of their intros to a video was, "Hey, I watch Fox News and report about it, so you don't have to." I'm like, "Thank you." Uh, what are your thoughts on ballot access reform in Illinois?
Man. Okay, so Alexandria, we need ballot access reform. Like, okay, I have so many different views on this. First of all, we need ranked choice voting, of course, but like, I think that we have to be serious about what does having different primary ballots based on political parties, what does that do for democracy? It's not the best. And the reality is that we need all political parties, um, including independents, third parties, all of them on the exact same primary ballot. We need to rank our choices, and who knows, maybe you have two socialists that are going to go to the runoff in the general, and that's how we should treat elections. Uh, and the other thing is that our primary process in this country, especially for presidential elections, it has to be on the exact same day. We cannot have layered primary elections because what that does is it just really gives the media time to subvert democracy and to just create manufactured consent around a candidate. We saw this in 2020, how they turned a fourth place candidate into the Democratic nominee in Biden. And so like, yeah, we just it's just they're too powerful in this. So yeah, I would say all candidates, regardless of party, on one ballot, ranked choice, and primary the same day nationwide.
100%. And the one thing I'll add to that I've been having to theorize about on my race is equal ballot access also means equal signature counts for getting on the ballot. I,
Yes.
for math sake, to get in the Democratic primary, and this is part of the reason I was talking about the calculation difference earlier. Morgan needed 900-ish to get on the Democratic primary ballot. I would need the volunteer base to be able to get over 16,000 accepted signatures in 90 days. So that, yeah.
It's impossible. It's impossible. And and you have a volunteer base. It's not like you have money to pay anybody either. Like even if you had money to pay people, it would be ridiculous.
I was about to say it. I know people with good volunteer bases that going into the Democratic primary process, and they got in the same day period because they also have 90 days. It's just earlier because they have to make the primary. Got about 2 or 3 thousand. And I'm like, okay, so with a decent sized volunteer base, they got 1/8 what I would need. Wow.
Wait, so what are you going to do? Are you going to be a write-in candidate or are you going to go through the
Well,
petition
that's the
process?
thing for people paying attention. If there's anybody in aisle 10 viewing, please get in contact with me if you would be interested in volunteering. I'm going to keep an eye on that, see how many people I could mobilize. If that could get to 100, then as hard as it would be, I'm going to try pushing for the ballot. If I can mobilize at least 100 people come February 25th or 26th, I can't remember which, that it starts. If I can't, then we're just going to save that energy and just be a writing candidate and spend that energy knocking on doors, letting people know, hey, we exist. And here's how to spell my name, by the way.
So are you going to encourage each 100 volunteers to do be responsible for like 100 signatures or something like that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, about
I see.
180-ish each. So it'd still be
Okay.
pretty tough. But
Yeah, that's really tough. And so I okay. So do you want to talk a little bit about why I'm not a candidate anymore?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um, so uh so surprise, surprise. The Illinois Senate Democrats they challenged my petitions.
Mm,
Okay. So they challenged my petitions. I consult a lawyer. By the way, inside baseball, Holly Kim, she actually reached out to me. She was one of the Democrats that was like kind of kind and considerate,
that's
which
surprising because all the news I've heard about her has been the opposite. We'll have to talk more about that afterwards.
yeah, we'll have to because that's the other thing is that there's a she's a mixed bag in the Palestinian circles, right? Um, but I have a different opinion. I think that we actually have two candidates that are good on that issue in the comptroller race. I think both her and Karina are both actually good on that issue. Um, but so that's my opinion. But anyways, so she helped me out with a lawyer. So I got a lawyer talk to him, and we started realizing that I would need to get probably roughly around 120 or so affidavits. I got 13, just under like 1,300 signatures, and I needed 1,000. And because I'm just gonna be honest, like I didn't know what I didn't know for this campaign. I got about maybe 750 of the signatures myself, just like
Mm,
knocking on doors, and it was just difficult. And so like
good
I
work.
had work, yeah, I had work, and then this is like a full-time job as well. And so like I didn't really have a ton of people, but you know what? That's your crux when you're a candidate. You take that on. So there's no belly aching from that standpoint. I just if I could do things differently, I would have had 2,000 signatures and doubled up the minimum. But anyways, so I would have needed about 100, 125 like affidavits signed from people and have notaries do that. And the whole process and legal fees, all of that. My lawyers were saying that it could get like around 25K or so. And I started thinking about like why am I running? I'm running for working class people. Who am I getting funding from? Well, it's not. corporate PACs, it's working class people. Um, why like I can't like use their money for legal fees without a guarantee that I'm even going to win it in the first place? Because the whole purpose of why I'm running is to make life more affordable for them so that they can live in economic dignity and not have blood on their hands by virtue of how our tax dollars are spent. Not have our government pension plans invest in Israeli bonds and and so I I just I ran a campaign based on promoting the things that people need to live and not commodifying those things that people need to live. And so when we talk about education, healthcare, housing, food, all of those things are human rights, and we just don't practice it as a human right. And that's just um that's the disconnect. So I thought, okay, all right, fine. Like I have to withdraw from this race. I'll share this vulnerability with you guys as well. I cried when I withdrew my candidacy because I cared quite a bit about it, and I only share this because the Illinois Senate Democratic lawyer that was there, um, it was one of maybe 12 cases he had. By the way, Illinois Senate Democrats were also petitioning other Democrats. I don't think they, from what I saw, I don't think they they cha did a petition challenge to any Republicans. Just side note, it was progressive challengers in those races.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, as I was talking, uh, the lawyer, I forget his name, but he started tears started welling in his eyes too. Like I think he was just going to a case, and so I have to think about, okay, on the one hand, you're doing this to me, but on the other hand, it's the system that is pitting us against each other. This guy, this lawyer, he's like telling me how, he and his wife, they started a law firm, and he was telling me he's still paying off student loan debt, and he's told me that his monthly insurance premium is $3,000 for his family. And so like he was telling me how uh he would benefit under Bernie's 4% tax over income over like 30K, I think it is, for Medicare for all. So like that system would actually benefit him and his family. And so he like got emotional as I was getting emotional because he was like, I never really thought about that. I never really thought about how somebody who's a lawyer, you think about them owning their own law firm, being rich, this, that, whatever, but he's also a business owner that has immense debt, and that he's um, you know, I don't want to use the term slave, but I don't know what else to say. He's indebted to this capitalist system as well. He might, on a day-to-day level, be better off than many others, but he also like is like not playing ball with the capitalist system away from losing everything too.
Mm.
So I was thinking about that, and I was like, man, it's so easy to divide us.
Yeah.
Like, and people, even people with like $150,000 a year salary, they're losing a job away and getting blackballed away from being homeless. And it's like when you start to realize that, then even upper middle class status like is not protected, even though we think about how much economic security it would be to be upper middle class. And it's like, fuck, man. Sorry, I don't know if I
No,
can
you're good.
swear
I
on this,
swore
but
earlier.
okay. Okay. So it's like, yeah, man.
We're running
So
short on
I'm
time, though.
glad, Alexandria, I'm glad that you give me the chance to talk about this because it's like it's something that I think the left doesn't realize, that there's a lot of people even upper middle class that can have class solidarity with us. We just have to figure out how to talk to them too. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And tap into it. And one last question I asked all my guests. I'm trying to make a little video game hall of fame. Favorite video game of all time and or at the moment?
Okay. This is a tough one. Um, so I'm kind of boring. I like sports games.
I used to grow
So
up.
I'm a huge fan. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of FIFA, and NBA 2K. Uh, but also Mario Party and like Super Smash Brothers and like Mario Kart, like all of that, that type of game I love. I used to really like so I was not allowed to play with guns or toy guns or like w even water guns.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like I used to play Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat because my mom wouldn't let me play like first person shooters, but for whatever reason she would let me play that. And so I was like, okay, all right, cool. So Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on.
Yeah,
Lovely chatting with you.
no, this was great. This was fun.
Awesome. Take care.
All right, bye.